Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the College Sucks Summer Book Club series. And it is something I'm doing to help us all slow down, reflect, and maybe pick up a few new habits while school's out. I'm your host, Davia Samantha Davidson. Today's episode is all about focus. You know, that thing you swore you had before you picked up your phone and went on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, looked at your emails, or just ventured into any of the 19 tabs you have open on your laptop right now. We're breaking down The Power of Focus by Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Henson, and Les Hewitt. This book is packed with practical ways to stop spinning your wheels and make progress in your life. So let's talk about what focus really means, what's getting in your way, and how you can start directing your time and energy toward what matters. Summer Book Club series, The Power of Focus. Maybe you're doing too much. Book 3, stay tuned. Let me first say that I have 3 hopes for the book club. So I want to put you on books because I believe some of the solutions we seek can be found in the pages of books. Secondly, I hope you will read the books I have suggested now or in the future. And finally, if you decide that you can't wrap your head around reading this book or any featured here, you can still leave each episode with useful information, gems, and tips. Okay, let's dive into the book. Now, let me clarify something. I did an episode called The Power of Focus, where I referenced several books dedicated to enhancing or developing your focus power. In this episode, I'm looking on the whole book. And listen, this book in 2011 had sold 500 million copies, more than Harry Potter, which was a big deal and still is a big deal. The book is old. It was originally written in 2001, and I read the revised 10th anniversary edition, and it's no easy read. It's simple, but it wasn't easy. To be honest, Maria's struggle to leave Colombia was by far the most exciting thing that happened in the book, and that was really the last time the book was exciting. I was having a discussion with my producer, and I was saying to her, boy, I'm a reader, and this book is giving me a warm time. And she's like, do you find it repetitive? Is it boring? In all honesty, the book is not boring. And you may be able to read it if you're not under pressure. I mean, this episode was due last week, and I could not finish the book in time for that. So when you're under pressure, it becomes even more strenuous for you. I picked the book because personally, I've not read all the way through it. I have picked out gems because I can scan a book. But to read the whole book, I'd never done it before. So I kind of picked it for you, and I picked it for me. And let me just say, I believe that I am bound to be successful having completed that book, because if you can focus long enough to read it, you can focus on anything that you want to focus on. Let's be very clear. It is repetitive. It is very detailed. It gives you tons of examples around the same point. And I can understand you Gen Zers not being able to stick to that unless you're really, really into books. So when she said, I don't even know why you picked that book, nobody will read it. And I think it's a good thing that I did pick the book, because you're not going to read it. So I've read it for you. You're welcome. And what I've done is to take the major points and broken them down in manageable segments that you can work with. All right, so let's start with the first one. Focus is a skill, not a trait. Now, one of the first points the book makes is that focus isn't something you're born with. No, in this time where we're learning about savants and people who have they're not normies. So, people who might be on the spectrum, who are just more focused than others, people who are on the other end, who have attention deficit, which is probably the majority of us. This whole notion that whatever you're born with is what you're stuck with is something when you think about mindset and you think about self development that you have to move away from. So I get it where people will say to me sometimes when I'm doing something, because there are moments when I am so focused, they'll be like, I could never sit down and mark 20 scripts. How do you do it? The thing is that there are times when I am able to focus where I accept that this is something that I just have to do, and it doesn't make any sense for me to divert my attention anywhere else. There are people who are able to do that. And on the other end, you have people who just, they can't. So you have to break down things smaller for them. In any event, what this book is saying is that you don't have to worry about if you feel like you don't have focus to begin with, because it is something that you can develop. It's not necessarily something that's in your genome, if you get what I'm saying. So focus is something you build. So if you've been telling yourself, I just suck at focusing, stop it, pause right there, don't move on. That's a habit. It's not a life sentence. The authors say successful people don't necessarily work harder. They work more intentionally. They protect their focus. That means saying no, simplifying tasks, and being ruthless about where their attention goes. If this sounds familiar to you in anyone you've observed, anybody you have admired, let's take Mr. Beast as a great example. I was listening to an episode of Diary of a CEO, and Mr. Beast, I mean, if you don't know about him, you must have never grown up with the internet and have never been on YouTube. There is no way you're listening to this and you don't know about Mr. Beast. As a matter of fact, he just had a record-breaking game show on Amazon where he gave away millions of dollars. The game was so crazy, I could not stop watching it. So Mr. Beast is a YouTuber. He's very successful. He works with his friends. And he was saying on that episode of Diary of a CEO, like, how did you become successful? And he said he has the ability to focus completely on any task he wants to accomplish. The interviewer then went on to ask him if he thought that he was on the spectrum, and he said more than likely he was, because when he decided that he wanted to be a YouTuber, that was all he did. He just made videos, tons and tons of videos. So being able to focus, and if you're going to be successful at whatever you're doing, you need to be ruthless about the level of focus that you dedicate to it. So if you want to be a student athlete, equal attention on being a student and on being an athlete. It is possible to be good at two things, but both of them require equal focus. So you have to do what you need to do to get to where you need to get to. And so it should be that if you're trying to do everything, classes, jobs, a side hustle, and still be a decent human being, you have to manage your attention like it's money. Because it is. You have to decide where you spend it. You have to budget accordingly. Focus is important if you intend to be successful. The next point is that you need to eliminate distractions. Now, this is a big one. We have purchased an item that is so important for our everyday lives. I cannot imagine. My producer, I'm always making this joke that we can survive anything as long as she has her phone. She doesn't need to be on the phone, doesn't need to be using it to make a phone call or anything, but she just wants to know where it is. It's like kind of a security object for her. She needs to have her phone, but she doesn't have to be on it, which is something I find so interesting, because sometimes I'll WhatsApp her and she will take so long to answer, and I'm like, why were you? And she's like, I'm not on WhatsApp like that, but yet still you always have your phone. Yeah, I just need to know where it is, but it's not necessarily a distraction for me, and I would love to get to that level. I mean, there are times I'm horrible at getting phone calls, so there are times when I'm really busy where I'll put the phone away, or I'll realize I've left it in my flat and I'm going up to work, and it doesn't bother me because honestly I don't have time to be on the phone. But you need to learn to get away from your distractions. It's okay to have a problem, It's what you do about that problem. And I have told you in other episodes of this, especially the one about the power of focus, that there are apps that can help you. You can also buy this device, like a lock box that you put a timer on. You put your phone in it, and you cannot use your phone until the time is up. You have to do what you have to do to reduce your distractions, because your distractions are the barriers that's keeping you from the life that you really want to live. So, this book gets into how tiny things add up. In 5 minutes you spend, the 5 minutes you spend checking your phone, then answering a group chat, then scrolling, you look up and 40 minutes are gone. Listen, I've been on my phone. The sun was about to set, and then when I look, it's time for me to turn on the lights. And I'm not even phone obsessed. It might be that I just keep watching YouTube video after YouTube video, or following some story, on Instagram, part one, part two, part three. The next thing, I'm deep into part 12, and this hasn't helped me anywhere near my goals. So whereas downtime is important, it's only if you have said downtime. So if you don't have it, if you're not on vacation, where you're just lying on the beach and just, where whatever happens, you've completed all your tasks, you don't have any work to do, you're on vacation, that's quite fine. Like, deep dive, get into a rabbit hole, go down the rabbit hole of research, and just prying into whatever is going on online. But if you're in school, you have goals, you have all these things you want to accomplish while you're young and have the energy, you're going to have to learn to limit your distractions. So what are some of the things that you can do? You need to turn off notifications, not just do not disturb, actually disable the ones you don't need. So I don't get any kind of notifications on my phone. Nothing pops up. So no, somebody's responded to your Insta message, no WhatsApp, none of these things pop up. I do not work in emergency care. It is hardly likely that there is going to be an emergency that I'm going to be the first person you need to call, to be completely honest. I check my phone routinely. It does ring. Well, not ring, it vibrates. I can't bother with ringing. But I don't allow notifications to pop up, because if every time the phone lights up you move, that's time wasted. Another thing the book suggests is that you create a focus zone. So whether that's a desk, a library cuticle, or just putting your headphones on in your room, that you have a time when you are just focused. You are working on this task, and this is all you're paying attention to. You don't want anybody to disturb you or distract you. One of the things I do when I'm recording, because I'm home in Kingston, sometimes people will knock on the door for random things that are not necessarily emergencies, especially if I'm not expecting anyone. I legit write a note and stick it on the door. I'm recording. Please do not knock. And as soon as I'm done, I go and I'll take it off. During that time, I am not to be disturbed. Okay. If I'm having a meeting, I will do the same thing, because my house is kind of the house where if somebody has a question or somebody's just popping by to say hi, they'll want to do that. But when it's my focus time, I make sure that I set up boundaries. I put things in place so that I am not disturbed. The next thing that you need to do is to batch your time. And I've spoken about this too in other episodes, where you set blocks for focused work and blocks for breaks. So if you follow the Pomodoro technique, and I have an episode about that, you do 25 minutes work and then 5 minutes rest, or 20 minutes work and 5 minutes rest, however you want to do it. That's a good way to keep your focus going and keep yourself fresh and that kind of thing. I set up blocks for when I am supposed to be recording, blocks for when I need to go and exercise, blocks for when I need to have a power nap. Okay, I try to schedule most things, especially in the summer when there's no structure. I have to put in some kind of structure, because structure is important when it comes on to staying focused. All right. So don't let one thing bleed into the next. Use blocks of time to set things up properly, and then that will just make you feel more prepared, more regimented. There's nothing wrong with order, Order is actually security, because if you get through all that you need to get through, you actually have more time to do the things you want to do, which may include scrolling on your phone. I'm just saying, focus on what you need to focus on, get it out of the way, and then enjoy your time to rest and read and, travel down any rabbit hole you want to. So you need to pay attention to your distraction patterns. Sometimes when we're stressed, that's when the phone is the easiest thing to pick up, or, there's a task you have to do that you really don't want to do it. And so you will come up with any and every reason. I remember I was at home and I'm making the bed, and I make one side because, I really do not enjoy housework. So I make one side and I lie down on it, and then I slowly go over to the next side and then I lie down on it. It sounds like the simplest thing, but in a way, we do things like this throughout the day. We know we're supposed to start studying at a particular time. That's when we decide that we need a snack. We need to go buy the snack. And then when we go there to buy the snack, we have a conversation. And it's just, all downhill. You need to make sure that you know what your triggers are and try to sidestep them. Because at the end of the day, if you want to be successful, only if you want to be successful. I mean, if you don't need to focus, just blow with the wind. But if you are genuinely interested in being successful, you need to admit whether you're a procrastinator, yes or no. And most of us are. I am. And then you need to sort through that, put in boundaries, set up systems. Remember from Atomic Habits that we do not fail at the level of our desires, we fail at the level of our systems. So systems is what you need to make sure you put things in place so that you recognize what your triggers are and you design a strategy to sidestep them. Okay, the next thing is that you need to set clear priorities. Okay, so here's a quote from the book. Clarity is power. The clearer you are about what you want, the more likely you are to achieve it. So back in 2000, there was this song by Paula Diano. The song is Baby, Am I Doing Too Much? And she was saying, I'm sending messages and voicemails telling you I miss you, baby, am I doing too much? I always love that song because it's just so funny because, girl, it's not that you're doing too much, you're doing it for the wrong person. And that's how we are sometimes. We might be doing the right thing. So when we're in our phones, we're locked in. Sometimes somebody's talking to you and they can't even get your attention because you're so deep in your phone. Guess what? That's the level of focus you need for your schoolwork, to be completely honest, for your side hustle, in developing a new skill. That's the level of focus that you need. So your focus is good and it does exist, but it's not in the right place. You need to make sure that you're doing too much on the thing that's going to lead you to success. Okay? So you need to set clear priorities. This is the thing that matters to me. Miss Paula Dan, she was busy on something that wasn't giving her a good return. Do not be like her. So many of us are busy doing stuff, assignments, meetings. Ugh, can we talk about meetings? I don't know if this is like Jamaican culture only, although I see on social media people complaining about meetings all the time. Meetings tend to be a way for us to just consume a lot of manpower hours that an email could suffice. We are just not really being maximally efficient in terms of communicating and getting to work. So meetings, chores, we have not stopped to ask ourselves, is this moving me toward what I want? I've gone to many meetings and I've left without any kind of result. That is a waste of time. Bear that in mind. You need to organize your life in such a way that anything you're doing moves you towards your goal. If it's not moving you towards your goal, you genuinely do not need it. And especially when you are at college age, like if you're one of the younger persons in college, time is important because the younger you start making money, the easier it becomes for you and the quicker you can retire. So you need to make sure that you're running your life like a business. You need to be asking yourself, is this moving me toward what I want? You need to define your top priorities. Otherwise, your time gets hijacked by other people's urgency. For college students, I'd say focus should be on three things: academic progress. Are you understanding what you're learning or just passing through? Personal growth. Are you building confidence, discipline, and communication? Strategic connections. Who are you meeting? Who's in your corner? If your week isn't reflecting those priorities, you might be busy, but you're definitely not focused. So please save this episode, even though we're going through it in the summer. You might want to play it when you start back the next semester, just to see, am I doing things that are moving me towards my goal? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're on. Okay, about goals and achieving them. The next thing that I took from the book was that you need to learn to say no. Now, I'll tell you something very funny about me. No is my favorite word. I know. If you know me, you know. It is so much easier for me to come back from a no than it is to come back from a yes, because I am such a person of my word. Okay, it's one of the things. Like, I hate when somebody follows up with me, because if I say I'm going to do something, best believe I'm going to do it. I really try to be a woman of my word. So when somebody asks me for something, quickly on the surface, if it's something that's going to take me out of my way, I am going to say no, because I need time to check to see if I can really do this without ruining anything I have going on for the day. I am not the type of person that you can pop up on to spend 4 hours doing nothing during the work week. It's not going to work for me. So I have learned very early, it is annoying to a lot of people, but I have learned very early that it is easier to come back from a no than it is to come back from a yes. A yes can just bring you down into some things that you really didn't have time to think about, but just answered quickly. So, one of the biggest things that kills focus is trying to be everything for everyone. The book talks about boundaries, how saying no isn't selfish, it's strategic. Every yes is a no to something else. That's the thing. So, if I say yes to you, I have to say no to something else. And in normal circumstances, it might be fine. It may be a no brainer. It may not be a big deal. Let me give you a good example. I remember, not last academic year, but the year before, there was a student who was playing netball. She's a netballer, very good at it. But she was sick. She was out of school for a little bit. And then she came back. And she came back around the time when it was time for assignments to be handed in. And in that same week, they had a match. And she felt so overwhelmed that she was overcome with emotion. She just couldn't manage. And I said to her, okay, let's just, yes, you're upset. There's a lot going on. I know what it feels like to feel overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is not a feeling I enjoy. So I get it. It just feels as if you're suffocating. And I said to her, all right, let's line out all the things that you have to do. Let's see the things that we have to say yes to. Have to. Because you are in college and you are here to make academic progress. So on the list of things that had to be said yes to were everything that had to do with her schoolwork and nothing to do with the netball match. And she just felt like she was letting the team down, and it was so bad and all of that. And I had to just be real with her. If you are overwhelmed and you are pressured and you feel like you have all this academic work to do and yet you have this match, there is no way, to use a basketball term, there's no way you're going to stay loose. And in sports, in order to do well, those of you who are college athletes, you will know that staying loose is a big part of it. Like, you have to stay loose. You have to be relaxed. Being tight does not help. The other thing I had to point out to her is that, bless you, you are a really, really good netballer, but it is so much to feel like the whole team is relying on you. That's just too much right now. You have to give other people the opportunity to step up. You never know. The star player on the other team could have the same challenges you have, and she won't be playing either. And so she ended up, I don't know if they won or lost the match. I don't want to say that they won and then it's not true. I don't want to lie. I'd like to think that they still won. But at the end of the day, what was important was that she was okay. She passed her test that she had. She handed in all her assignments and she felt so much lighter and was able to now go back to the things that she enjoyed. So saying no sometimes is very hard. It's not easy. It's not as easy as how I put it. But everybody knows my favorite word is no, and they expect it from me. And they know that eventually they might get a call back. But you need to decide that if I'm going to be saying yes, I can really stand behind that. Like it's not going to rearrange my life or stress me out. So if you say yes to another club, another shift, another late night conversation that's draining your soul, you're saying no to rest, to focus, or showing up for yourself the next day. Practice saying things like this because no, you may not want to say no. It sounds harsh to some people. You can say, I can't right now. Let me think about it. I say that sometimes too, because, not everybody's tough enough to handle a straight out no. I'm focusing on something else this week. I know that for so many of you who might be at the age of people pleasing, something I hope you will grow out of, this might feel really hard for you. And at first, it is going to feel hard. But that's what being an adult is. It's learning to prioritize, it's learning to set boundaries, it's learning what to say yes to and what to say no to. But I assure you, your future self will thank you. I sometimes have students know, like I live on a campus that I work, they're like, Miss, something happened at 8:30, but we know you've gone to your bed. And this is true because I get up in the morning to exercise. So they know after 8, more than likely, I'm going to be knocked out. Do not disturb me. And they always find somebody else who can help. And sometimes the thing can wait until the next day. So they don't even set themselves up to hear the no because I would not be answering anyway. The fact of the matter is, you need to learn to put yourself first. When you put yourself first, then you are better able to put the mask on the next person beside you. This is advice they give you on an aircraft, in case you didn't notice. All right, so I've been talking for 27 minutes about this book. I really recommend that eventually you do read it. You may not be at the level where you can manage it right now. I mean, the summer is really hot in Jamaica. Sitting indoors, reading how many pages may not be ideal, but at some point, I believe it's a good book to have on your shelf, and it has really good lessons for you to keep it, bear in mind, have in your arsenal for when life challenges pop up. So I will say to you that focus isn't about having one magical week of discipline. It's about building habits that stack up over time. The power of focus encourages daily check-ins. What worked today? What distracted me? What can I do better tomorrow? That kind of reflection isn't easy. It's not attractive, but it works. The more you pay attention to how you work, the more you can fine tune your life. So start small, maybe 10 minutes of no phone reading, 1 hour a day where your phone is in another room or locked in a box or all your notifications are off. One list of 3 priorities each morning, and then you build from there. Everything in life is a habit. We are the sum total of our habits. And I want to say to you that college pulls your focus in 100 directions. I know this, but you don't have to chase everything. You just need to choose your path and protect it. The power of focus is a great reminder that progress doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things with consistency, clarity, and intention. So this week, I challenge you to pick one area where you've been scattered and try to focus on it. For me personally, I have a bunch of things that I need to do, like medically. I need to get my eyes tested. I need to go do, all the things women need to do at particular times of the year. Like all of those appointments are due. I need to set them and get to them. No, so I have my list of priorities. When I wrap up this episode, I'm gonna make calls to see if I can get appointments and when those are gonna be. So I'm challenging you to do the same. So whether it's your schedule, your sleep, if you're doing summer school, your assignments, if there's a room that you need to clean up, if all the things you brought back from college, it's almost time to go back. I'm already starting to feel sad, but anyway, sort yourself out, clear out what needs to be cleared out, and just get it together. Focus. The difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful one is their level of focus and their habits. Now next week we'll be diving into how to drag a body, and you will not want to miss that. I know it sounds more exciting than it is, but in these treacherous times that we're experiencing in the world, you have to be prepared. So if this episode helped you to get your focus back, or at least reminded you to put your phone down, although you may be listening on your phone, do me a favor. Send this episode to someone who keeps saying, I just need to get my life together. Don't send it to me. I keep saying that, but I am trying to get my life together. Send it to someone else. And just know that we're trying to build this podcast. We're trying to create a space for real talk about college and everything around it. So please do not gatekeep me. Share me as much as possible. Get me out there. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at College Sucks JA to keep the conversation going. Remember, some of the solutions you seek might just be in the pages of books. See you next week. Bye.